The fools don't know that the reports you've pulled up and I've looked at, these things are leaking. But the TSA guys are going to love dying of cancer.
Oh, yeah.
This is fun.
Surrounding it. They're all around it. The thing's right there.
Well, see, that's kind of the good thing, though. See, evil always gets judged. These guys make excuses. They're going to make excuses about scanning naked children, scanning naked women and men. They're going to make excuses about how it doesn't hurt you. They're the ones that are going to die first.
Oh, yeah. 8 hours a day standing around it.
And I'm sad for them, but this is what they want. This is what they get.
This is a test of the emergency alert system.
Let's go ahead and play the clergy response team clip. Now remember, before this became national news, we got the secret documents from pastors who've been recruited by FEMA. We posted the secret documents with FEMA phone numbers. Train your flocks to turn their guns in. Train your flocks to go to FEMA camps. Train your flocks to take forced inoculations. People didn't believe us, just like they didn't believe the MIAC report. Then, suddenly, local news began reporting it, but like it was a good thing. Now, listen, will martial law ever be a reality? And the preachers are there, being paid by the government, faith-based initiative, now continuing under Obama, to tell their flocks to do what they're told by the authorities, and the government's biggest threat is the American people. That's a quote. So, this is specifically the pastors getting ready for us to go to FEMA camps. And there's thousands of pieces of evidence like this, and Glenn Beck's saying it doesn't exist. Here it is.
Law ever become a reality in America? Some fear any nuclear, biological, or chemical attack on U.S. territory might trigger just that. And as KSLA News 12's Jeff Farrell discovered, the clergy would help the government with potentially their biggest problem, us.
From my cold, dead hands.
Charlton Heston's famous declaration captures a truly American value, the overarching desire to protect our freedoms. But gun confiscation is exactly what happened during the state of emergency following Hurricane Katrina in New Orleans. U.S. troops also arrived, something far easier to do even now thanks to last year's elimination of the 1878 Posse Comitatus Act. That forbid U.S. troops from policing on American soil. If martial law were enacted here at home, like depicted in the movie The Siege, easing public fears and quelling dissent would be critical. And that's exactly what the clergy response team, as it's called, helped accomplish in New Orleans.
Jeff, the primary thing that we say to anybody is let's cooperate and get this thing over with, and then we'll settle the differences once the crisis is over.
Such clergy response teams would walk a tightrope between the needs of the government versus the wishes of the public.
In a lot of cases, these clergy would already be known in the neighborhoods in which they're helping to defuse that situation.
For the clergy, one of the biggest tools that they will have in helping calm the public down or obey the law is the Bible itself, specifically Romans 13.
Because the government is established by the Lord, you know, and that's what we believe in the Christian faith. That's what's stated in the Scripture.
Civil rights advocates believe the amount of public cooperation may depend largely on how long they expect a suspension of their rights might last.
And see, here is Mother Jones. Should Obama control the internet? It says right here, Senator John Rockefeller, goes by Jay Rockefeller, has announced they need to end the internet, that it's bad, and that private companies will have government hubs tied into them to snoop on everyone without warrants and to be able to shut down the web instantly. See, right now the government has to get warrants and go out and seize all the hubs. Here's another one. America's secret police. Intelligence experts warn the proposal to merge two Pentagon intelligence units could create an ominous new agency. And the head of cybersecurity just resigned 3 weeks ago, saying the Pentagon and Homeland Security are taking over the internet and it's a threat to freedom in America. So their own guys quitting, saying this takeover is happening. All the radio and TV in the nation under the emergency alert system in '96 under a federal law and executive order, FEMA is wired into the transmitters themselves and cable to take over all the systems and broadcast anytime they want. Before, the stations would tune to a signal themselves. Now that's out of their hands. All of that's going on. So see, they've got the preachers, they've got the citizens, they've got the military prepared for martial law, and they could remotely listen to you even when the cell phone's off. That's standardized the cell phones. And all telecommunications companies were given $9 billion total to put in whole floors for the NSA to move into. So the NSA doesn't tap the phone companies. They are the phone companies. Just like FEMA on all radio, TV, cable, you name it, is already in control with hubs at the transmitter site or at the satellite uplink site, the last piece of equipment. This is in my film Police State 2000, by the way. See, I was sitting there talking to the engineer in 1996 at KJFK FM, and he calls me over and goes, look at this, Alex. They're ordering us to do this. Here's all the secret documents. We're not supposed to show this to anybody. And I was sitting there reading it. FEMA takes over through this. Everything you do goes through this system. I mean, that's what you hear when it goes bang, bang, bang. You know, this has been an emergency alert system. That is a federal test tone going via shortwave radio transmitters, dials in, and takes control of your radio station. And that's what they say right here. During emergencies, when they're rounding people up and arresting them and shooting people, their job is to keep the media shut down. They don't have to come arrest Alex Jones. They hit one button, the internet shuts off. They hit one button,
In the not-too-distant future, a self-proclaimed intellectual elite will rule every aspect of our lives.
People in the world are content to stay as first or second level maggots.
The economy is emerging from the recession.
We have to keep geoengineering on the table.
Implementation depends on motivation.
An alarming and possibly catastrophic disaster.
Already the path has been chosen. The design set in motion decades ago. Their endgame?
Complete control. Water. Air.
The economy.
Population and even human logistics
will all fall within their purview. The goal? To acquire all the natural resources of the planet and bring them securely under government control.
All activities of mankind will be monitored, accounted for, and controlled.
Legislation pretending to address concerns about the environment,
national security,
and financial stability will in fact be used to erode the very foundations of liberty and to enslave the population. This will all happen in the name of security and progress. Alluding to the notion that this is all for our protection, this will not miraculously occur overnight with the sudden proclamation of martial law.
It has been happening incrementally for at least half a century. Every law enacted that truncates the Bill of Rights in the name of national security
is another nail in our coffin. Through this type of increasingly invasive legislation, the systematic decay of constitutional law becomes inevitable.
Thousands of years of building and rebuilding, creating and recreating so you can let it crumble to dust.
Leaving our essential rights neutered and impotent. The Bill of Rights is reduced to a quaint antique collecting dust in a library somewhere, retaining all the potency of a fairy tale. Martial law, called a more politically neutral catchphrase, is practiced with an iron fist.
The implosion of the economy has begun by design. The United States dollar is under attack and losing value every day,
while the cost of living continues to skyrocket.
New laws that will effectively double taxes are already on the books and ready to be implemented.
Nothing has been introduced to help homeowners with their now default loans.
But at the same time, money is generously given to bankers who give themselves huge bonuses.
During one of the worst economic downturns in history and dry up loans to small businesses.
All the while, the economy spirals downward at a free fall rate.
As the citizens of the United States lose their ability to take care of themselves, the government conveniently steps in to save the day.
Capitalism gives way to socialism, and then without much notice, into the neo-dark ages of the one-world government's total dictatorship.
Once this task has been completed and the control grid is firmly in place, they can play their final trump card.
FEMA counts.
And by design, we will welcome the salvation with open arms.
As any alternative will surely seem like suicide.
Once we've been properly enslaved, they gain control over the rest of Earth's natural resources. Humanity.
America, here's what you need to know tonight.
I'm, basically a rodeo clown.
If you have any kind of fear that we might be headed towards a totalitarian state,